The Curse of La Llorona takes place in the 1970s when a nefarious spirit who likes to kill children pops up to menace a mother played by Linda Cardellini and her children, and she enlists the help of a curandero. I know I pronounced that name wrong because I'm supposed to roll my R's, which is basically kind of like a rogue priest played by Raymond Cruz to help her repel the spirit and save her kids. And the Llorona ghost herself is a big problem in this movie, but an even bigger problem for the movie is the critics who are tearing it apart pretty badly. This is the latest movie from, like, I think the Conjuring umbrella, that franchise produced by James Wan. The director of this movie, I think, is the one who's supposed to direct The Conjuring 3. And actually, after watching this movie, I thought it was a decent horror movie. It was just like all the other Conjuring movies. I mean, for the most part. There's sort of like a formula, and, the way they defeat the ghost or repel the ghost at the end, or do they, is sort of like the way that, a lot of the other Conjuring films end, similar to how. And so I'm thinking that it's possible that a lot of critics and maybe audiences are tiring of that formula. But after watching this movie, I myself felt it was just as good as, like, The Nun or, Annabelle Creation or whatever. It just, was kind of the same thing. And so I think maybe, to keep the critics from trashing future movies like this, they maybe need to try a way to deviate or modify the formula a bit. Because I will say that this movie is exactly like pretty much all the other movies in this franchise I've seen. So, they may need to kind of veer away. And, a lot of the scares, there's a lot of jump scares, and you see those throughout this franchise. It's certainly not in this movie. There's a lot of jump scares in it throughout that, is indicative of other movies in this franchise. It's not a very gore heavy movie, as Conjuring movies typically are not. They rely more on, like jump scares and cool camera tricks and framing and, just lighting to scare you. And they're very suspenseful. And even though there are deaths in the movie, they're not usually that gory or salacious. It's not like you're watching a Saw movie. And I think maybe the problem is that there's so many, like, scares, it jumps from scary moment to scary moment. I think a lot of people might feel like there's not enough room to develop characters that much. And I will agree. I mean, although none of the characters in this movie were unlikable, you don't really get to see any journeys of them as people and see their personalities because they're too busy running away from, like, an evil ghost. And, that's, I think, a similar problem with other movies in this franchise. And I think at this point, since we're on, like, the millionth Conjuring franchise movie, with all of its spinoffs, that could be becoming tiresome to a lot of people, at least a lot of critics. We'll see what audiences think. I mean, this is its opening weekend. We'll see how much money it does. It could be that people love this movie a lot more than others were anticipating. I thought it was decent. I mean, I like the other Conjuring movies I've seen. I haven't seen all of them in this franchise, like, all the Annabelles, all the other movies. But the ones that I've seen, I've enjoyed. And this one, is just like those. I thought The Nun was actually pretty weak, actually. And I'd say that I like this one a little bit better than Nun. So, take of that what you will. But my assessment of The Curse of La Llorona is, it's decent if you like Conjuring movies. You'll notice, and you might say this, like, I spent more time talking about this movie in the context of the whole franchise and the movie itself. And that's because this movie really is, there's not really that much here to make it stand on its own exactly. It's kind of just more of the same thing. Although I thought it was an enjoyable, scary movie, I guess they missed out on an opportunity. This is the first movie, I think, that was really steeped a lot, or could have been, a lot about, like, the Mexican culture in the prism of this franchise, but they didn't do it. They just kind of used it as kind of like a backdrop to do the same old thing. So I guess there was maybe a missed opportunity for this to be, to really capitalize on the culture it's basically, gets a lot of its inspiration from. La Llorona, that's like a Mexican spirit. There are a lot of, Mexican characters in the movie, but it's kind of just like, it doesn't have anything unique to say, regarding that community. It's just another Conjuring film. So, given that, if you want to see just another Conjuring type film, this is your movie. But if you're looking for something different from the franchise, or something that says a unique statement about the culture that is, seen a lot in this movie, you might be disappointed because although it's seen, it's not really explored that much. The same way that other movies have really, capitalized on the culture of the community they took place in. So, check it out. The Curse of La Llorona is in theaters now. See what you think. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please like it on YouTube and subscribe to the channel because I appreciate your viewership, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.